Bienvenidos!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of Skyper Talk. Today, I am in a real, like a three-dimensional world here.
What is that?
This is FPV, man. This is amazing.
So can you see us?
I want this for my business.
That's good. Explain for us, what is that?
Oh, yeah, this is our goggles that we used to use in snow conditions when you do ski and snowboard.
Skyper.
No, these are the famous goggles that everyone used to FPV. So if you're gonna buy a FPV drone soon, if you are planning to buy one, this is one of the accessories that come with the FPV drone. Is, as we say in the podcast before, is the thing that gives you the immersity in this world, so you can see in real time what the drone is seeing. So it's really, really cool. It's like a huge screen in front of your eyes. It's
Fantastic.
amazing. Yeah.
So guys, pretty much today we're going to be talking only about FPV, right? And there is no other better person to talk about this than Franco here.
Now, both of us, we're gonna talk about this because you are an FPV user as well. So we're gonna give you guys our experience in this world. We're gonna talk about a little bit deep in one of each aspect that involves FPV, simulator, how to fly them, which kind of drones, everything like compressing all this world, which is huge. As we talked before, Rod, it's a huge world that you can come from different ways and you can get into. For everyone, it's going to be different, but we're going to try to give our approach, right?
Fantastic. Franco, let's say that we are starting FPV, or at least we know, or we start to know a few things. We saw some amazing footage, everything.
Yeah.
How do you think we should be starting? What are the first steps? What we have to do to start with FPV world?
I think
In the FPV world.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main question that everyone may be asked by themselves is if this is gonna be for me, if I'm gonna like this. Some people, as you mentioned to me a few times, you can get a little bit dizzy if you put the goggles on. So sometimes it's not for everyone. But I think the best way to try this out is maybe buy a controller first and try the simulator in the computer. Or even if you don't want to expend money in a controller like this, if you have a PlayStation, like for example a PlayStation 4, you can download like a video game or something, so you can feel how this FPV kind of drone fly, which is totally different as the regular drones or the camera drones that we know as Mavic, the Inspire that we have here in Skyper. Is totally different because you have the full manual control of the drone. So maybe a good way, if you don't want to spend money just in a controller to start playing the simulator, maybe the PlayStation is a good place to start.
I remember when 2 or 3 episodes ago we talked about when we start to fly drones, right? And you told me that you started to fly drones in 2019.
Yeah, exactly.
When you start to fly drones, what gives or what pretty much like open this door for you to say, oh, I want to fly FPV drone? What was the main thing why you decide to fly FPV drone?
I think, of course, with the social media and all those kind of viral videos that we watch every time, I remember seeing that guy, this guy called Johnny FPV, which did an amazing videos. We used to do like amazing freestyle videos with drones. So this guy used to post like doing some tricks with that drone that I didn't know anything about that. So I saw this guy doing those tricks with this drone. I said, wow, I want to try that. I want to fly close to objects, doing some tricks, some flip and flaps, some power loops. I don't know. I saw that guy doing that and I said, wow, I want to try that out. And yeah, that's why I started like Google which kind of drone they are, because they were really different. They kind of looks like really weird at the beginning because they are not some good finish. They are pretty custom drones, so it looks like that. So it's pretty weird at the beginning, but then you realize why they look weird, why, because at the end of the day, you are the one that built those drones, and that's why maybe don't look with a really high-end finish, right? But I was really into that.
So Johnny FPV was your main inspiration.
Yeah, also Sam Calder was like a guy that I was following him at that time. He used to do like cinematic shots with really nice cameras, really nice Mavic drones, really cool shots. The color grading was nice, but I saw at that time he using some FPV shots for those kind of videos that he used to be travel videos, like lifestyle travel videos. So I saw some of those FPV shots. I said, wow, that is so interesting, because he was flying really close to object, close to bridges. Was really impressive. I said, wow, I want to try that out. Yeah.
No, it's funny. I'm trying to remember those videos, and I think at the beginning he started to use the small drones, and after I'm talking about Sam Calder, right?
Yeah.
And after he started to use these FPV drones,
Exactly.
right? Because they didn't have the FPV at the beginning. It was not that easy.
Exactly.
I know that it's not that easy when you talk about FPV drone. Can you tell us what was your first experience and what happened
This world.
when you started fly FPV drone?
Before that, I want to be, because this guy, I saw Sam Calder at that time. I was watching him with those kind of goggles in his videos, but he was flying analog. Do you know the difference between analog and digital?
No, tell us what's the difference.
That is so cool, because I think around 2019, I think the same time that pretty much you bought your FPV stuff. So you bought in 2020, around 2020, I think.
I think it was 2019, 2020.
Yes,
something.
exactly. Was exactly the right moment to buy the FPV stuff, because it's when everything did the crossover to digital, because before that was everything analog. So the signal was really bad in the analog system, was really sketchy, it wasn't that good, it wasn't no much range, and Sam Calder was flying with analog at that time. So when I started doing searchings to get my first FPV drone, I realized that crossover was starting from analog to digital, and was when DJI released the goggles and all this digital system.
Okay, cool. But I think you went a little bit far from what I asked for you. What was your first experience? Tell me.
Exactly. I bought my first drone, FPV drone. It was a Chinese one. I'm not trying to, but it was like a really bad drone. So I bought the drone. It was sitting there on my table. I tried to set the drone up, but before that, I play a couple of hours in the simulator to see how it looks, how to use the sticks in my remote control.
A couple of hours or a couple of minutes?
A couple of, practicing really well, a couple of minutes, but setting up the simulator at that time for that computer was, take longer. So waiting a cable to come to connect. Everything is a process in this world. So I was flying for a couple of hours the simulator, and then I said, wow, I'm gonna start flying this Chinese drone, the cheap drone. So I went out, I was flying a little bit the drone up, I put my goggles on. The goggles didn't show me anything because I didn't know how to connect properly the drone and everything. So the goggles were black. So I put my goggles out, I started flying with visual line of sight, the drone, just to see how it performs in the air. Because it's fully manual, the drone started spinning because I didn't have the control in my sticks. So the drone started spinning in the air and hit the ground really hard, and it broke an arm the first day. I was so frustrated because it took me so long to be there, in the field, testing the drone for the very first time. That happened and the drone broke. So I was so frustrated. The first thing that I do, I grab the drone, the controller, the chip controller, I threw away. Because I was so mad with that drone. So I say for myself, okay, I'm gonna do this right. I bought a better controller and I start flying properly in the simulator for a no couple of minutes, no couple of hours, but a few months to start like having best control, seeing the physics of the drone because it's totally different as we say. So yeah, so
So when you talk about physics, let's say, what are the main challenges that you think you face when you talk about FPV drones?
yeah, we have one example here. This is the drone that we normally use to shoot close proximity with people. So it has some bumpers around, so it's pretty safe.
Okay, what are those bumpers for?
This protect the props, but also the most important thing, protect the people around. If we hit or we bump with something, even the buildings, the walls, nothing is gonna happen because they are 3D printed. We have a 3D printed as well, so we design them, we print them. So we have so many spare parts. If something happens, if something goes wrong, we can swap them. And yeah, this is pretty flexible, so it's really nice. So the physics of the drone, it doesn't have holding position or doesn't have any kind of sensors around. It's just one camera, 4 motors, some electronics inside, and the drone can rotate, all the way around. It can do flip. It can do power loops like that. So it's it doesn't have holding position. It doesn't have GPS. That's why the hardest part is understand the physics, how you can get the full control of the drone, so you can go up and do kind of divings, and turn at the same time. When you follow like an object, how to follow, how to turn. So it's so many stuff that you need to learn. It's hard to explain with words, but it's gonna be easier if you try something with your PlayStation, as we said, of you practicing your simulator that nowadays you play already. Tell me how do you feel the simulator?
Yeah, the simulator is really important, especially when you're starting. Gives you a feeling how the drone is gonna work and how the maneuvering, everything. It's, if you think that you fly a drone like I did since 2016, right?
Yeah.
I flew so many times. I lost the count how many times I flew.
Yeah.
And when I started on the FPV drone world, I have to confess that it's completely different.
Mm-hmm.
The controller, stickers, the responsive of the drone is way different.
It's different.
So I really struggle a lot at the beginning.
Yeah.
And the simulator was the one that helped me a lot to improve and to sharpen my skills. But I still...
I never asked you this, but I am really interested. Do you remember the specific video, the specific shot that you saw that you say, okay, I want to try this because it looks amazing? Or what calls your attention to buy your first FPV as well?
When we start to look FPV, everything started with drone racing. So we saw many times people flying really fast, and that never caught my attention, because for me it was kind of a video game, and people were just playing to be who was the fastest one and doing stuff. However, I start to see and look on that in a different way and realize, well, if you can fly slowly and have like these different maneuverings and flying between on the middle of some objects, everything, you could give a different perspective, especially when you talk about cinematic shots of things. And I remember I watched one video that the guy, he built a drone, a really small drone.
Yeah.
And the video was all backwards and showing like all the place that he flew. I remember he flew in a playground in US.
Yeah.
And like a small hose, and he was flying over, and I say, man, that's unbelievable. Crazy. And I think that video went viral. And after that, I started to look at FPV in different eyes, and more we can see the employment of FPV on cinema, which that's definitely what I'm looking forward to do.
Yeah, we didn't talk about this before, but kind of I feel that it changed our way to fly the Mavics or the camera drones as well, because I think after we watched those videos back in 2019, I don't know if it happened to you. I'm pretty sure that happened. You start like doing some more risky shots with your conventional drones, right? It's true. We never
100%.
like
I think flying FPV gave us
yeah.
a little bit more confidence and fly the drone in
Closer.
different way and close to objects and
Through the object.
through the objects and even the Inspire too. We do some crazy things that I don't recommend to anyone doing at home, but we have been doing some crazy stuff.
I remember some stuff in the mine sites.
Yeah, money sites and flying close to the big machineries, everything, and flying in the middle of, and they are in the movement as well. But it's kind of, we talk with the guys that are driving the machines. They know that we are there, so everything is safe.
Yeah.
But have said that it's really
fun. It's really fun at the same time. But I think that is the perspective that the FPV gave to this world, right?
Yeah.
It's like we saw the guys flying close to objects, doing some risky shots, and because at that time we didn't have access to FPV drones, okay, let's try with a Mavic, with a DJI Spark in that moment, 2019. I had a Spark, you had a Phantom. Can imagine like flying close to object with Phantom.
no, but I have to confess that time I didn't risk that much the drone. I didn't put my drone in place that I was not confident. And I remember one day just to fly, I don't know, to cross like in the middle of the goal, from soccer goal, and I couldn't, and I was so scared to do that.
Which is alright. Yeah.
But nowadays
It's easier.
it's like it's normal. It'll be the first thing that you're gonna do. Oh yeah, I test the drone, fly there.
That's true. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. And many people, because they watch every day now, we can see every day now many viral videos, people flying over in stadiums, which is pretty normal now to showcase the stadium, flying in concerts. Now, not the companies, but the musician wants to hire FPV pilots to showcase her concert. It's crazy. It's crazy how the world is changing and how everyone is watching and asking for those kind of shots.
Yeah, because it gives you a little bit. It's not a little bit, a different perspective. It's not only a drone anymore. It's just like how the camera moves, everything. It starts to be more close to the reality stuff.
Yeah, and we talk about this in the other podcast. It's at the end of the day, it's cheaper than for directors in movies, other than pay for post-production, stitch together different shots of with cameras, hire some special vehicles to chase another vehicle in high speed, even helicopters or some specific elements. Now it's so easy that one person can do with just a custom drone, right?
If you are looking, especially when you talk about cinema and want to hire like a drone crew to achieve some results, it's way cheaper than hire like a helicopter. The results that you can have are amazing, and nowadays some drones are so fast as well. They can keep up with like sport cars, and they can fly low as pretty much like the same level of the car. So something that helicopters cannot do. Wow, there's one guy, I think Fred North. He's amazing.
He's so talented,
right? I can't believe that the guy, what he does.
Can we show a few clips?
100%. I think what he does is
because it's so cool.
It's unbelievable, giving me goosebumps because what he does and his confidence to fly the helicopter and that big stuff.
And when you look at the videos, it looks like FPV, right?
And
it's crazy. And then
that guy is crazy.
And then you see the BTS and say,
that guy is crazy, man. And more, I'm fascinated about everything that he does. It's crazy. But Franco, we talk about like drones that you build by yourself, there's some advantage and disadvantage. Can you tell me what would be the difference, for example, from one drone like this one, the Avatar,
Yeah.
and one drone like this that could be like built ones and
Cinewood.
custom ones?
Yeah.
But you have a different drone as well, right?
Here. So it's another kind of drone. We have so many there, but this the opposite that we showed before, which was like a kind of Cinewood, well protected with the guards and everything. This drone, yeah, I'm gonna explain the difference now.
Uh-huh.
But this is a bigger drone compared with the Avatar as well. What can I say? Yeah. So it doesn't have protectors, so it means that maybe the flight is better. So it's faster, quicker,
Uh-huh.
more agile as well. So you can pretty much chase racing cars with this one.
And this one, I saw that I can see that you put like the new GoPro 11.
GoPro 11 Mini.
That's the mini one. That's only for drone stuff, or
Yeah, no, everyone can buy this camera. It's gonna be for you can use for personal use, but I think it's way better for FPV because it doesn't have a screen. One of our huge problem with this world is when you crash or maybe when you land the drone, which is pretty tough sometimes, you break the screen really easily. So this GoPro doesn't have a screen. It's a little lighter, so it's specific for those kind of drones. So it's amazing for this, for those stuff. But you asked me the main difference between maybe the Avatar and the Cinewood. They are pretty similar, to be honest, and they are built, both of them, for kind of the same shots, to be honest. So the pros from the Avatar is, as we said before, we used to learn with simulators, just with the controller, but nowadays you can buy this drone from Amazon, for JB Hi-Fi, whatever store you want, and you can pretty much fly straight away. You have the better
even
experience.
GPS you have in this drone.
Exactly, but you bought this drone and the next day you borrowed to some friends. You told me that it was pretty easy to fly for them, right? People that never flew drones.
I don't know if you guys have seen this drone before, but this drone comes with this controller as well.
Yeah.
So, and some of my friends, they never flew drone. They never have
Even the Mavic or the Mavic Mini or
no,
something.
they never flew drones, man.
Wow.
And
They are starting with FPV.
they were able to fly with this controller.
I can't.
It's incredible how the technology is changing, advances really quick.
Yeah.
And you know better than me, but when you have like a new drone and you build by yourself, you have to tune everything, connect with your computer, have like a software to change or rotate one side, rotate the other side, and these ones come already ready to fly from the box, and you can choose. Okay, I can fly with GPS. I can fly manual mode. I can fly anything. I can do pretty much everything.
So with this controller, you pretty much you point where you want to go, and the drone goes there.
Yeah, we can point, record everything. Everything here is in your controller and in your hand, and you don't even need the
controller.
This controller here. So we can fly on this. It is fun.
But it's true that the people can do, because as I said for you before, it took me many months to learn how to fly them. Is so the people can buy that drone today and fly inside of a house and do like a tour.
I would say if you want to fly or do a tour inside of your home, it's not a risk, right? There is a probability that you're gonna crash. But however, those drones are really tough, so you can crash. You can do anything. Nothing happens here, to be honest. But the main thing, and we talked on an episode before. Despite the fact that you can go on JB Hi-Fi or anything or any place to buy one of these drones, unfortunately here in Australia you cannot fly FPV.
It's illegal
without license. You need to be a member of a club and fly inside of this club in a controlled place, or you can fly inside of a closed place but not close to people. So there's some regulations that unfortunately for FPV drone pilots it's really a pain in the ass. Sorry to say that, but
That's
but
okay.
now we are lucky to have like this license, these approvals from Casa, so we can fly and do
Yeah, whatever.
whatever we want to do now.
Yeah, that's the good thing. And as we said before, maybe the main difference between the Avatar and those custom drones is that we know which motors we put on. We have the 3D printer to print the bumpers. We know which flight controller is in, which camera is in. So if something happens, if something goes wrong, if we broke, I don't know, a motor or something, we can swap easily. It's easy to repair when you build your drone by yourself. Yeah, of course, you lose maybe those pros that the Avatar has, which is holding position, GPS, some sensor that there is pretty nice to have and pretty safe to have. But I think you ended up like with a more maybe a high performance drone when you build it yourself, because you can put better quality motors. You can tune the drone to fly in the way that you like. You can touch in the computer different settings, different numbers, so it is more easier or more smooth or more quick to fly. Sorry, my goggles is low battery.
It's time to go.
Yeah, that's good. So it's pretty nice to have like a custom drone, because you feel like really confident for what you are flying with, So you can break them, repair them, build a few drones the similar characteristic, and if you want something more powerful, you can take that off and get some powerful drone, better in windy conditions. And as we say before, if you want to build something bigger like this one, you improve the performance. You can start chasing cars, so go faster, put a GoPro on top, which, to be honest, for me, the GoPro is way better quality than the can with the Avatar, which is really, really nice already, but the GoPro gives you more potential post-production work. So
Franco,
it's nice.
you showed me that the battery was finishing there. What's the difference from these goggle and the goggle that you have in your head now?
It's not much difference, to be honest, because at the end of the day, they are both transmitting you image from the drone, and the image is really, really nice in both of them. That is a brand new goggles, which is smaller. You can see already. I'm gonna check out. Yeah, it's good. So you can see already how small it is. This is the brand new DJI goggles B2 from DJI, and those are the old ones. So those goggles are compatible if you want to build your own drones, your custom drones. You can fly with those goggles, and also you can fly the new Avatar with those goggles. So you can fly all your drones with one goggles. With this one, you can just fly custom drones. That's the main difference between them. And then the battery is everything the same.
Great. Frank, we've been talking about the technology, everything, and since we started to fly FPV drones, the technology have been changed so much and so fast.
Yeah.
What do you think and what do you want to do with FPV drones in the future?
I think we need and we must to still exploring the different industry that we can work on. As we said before, maybe FPV is really popular in sport, in niche, or even in action movies. Everything with dynamic and action shots, the FPV fits really, really well. But I think it's a huge potential to discover more niche, like, for example, tourism stuff, maybe some construction and mining stuff. We think we can, as we used to say, the FPV didn't come here to replace something or replace the conventional drones or the cinema cameras at all. They come to add one more tool, one more way to see the stuff and showcase in a new way. For example, if you want to showcase a stadium or something,
another perspective.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Franco, let's say that we are starting to be. I want to be a drone pilot.
Yeah.
a FPV drone pilot.
Yeah.
What are the advice that you could give me as a newbie that I could follow and say, yeah,
That's
I'm gonna be confident that I can
Yeah.
at least start to fly
Yeah.
a FPV drone?
I think it's so many ways that you can get into it. I would strongly recommend starting with the simulator, right? Buy the first controller, get better with that controller in the simulator, and then buy a drone that you can control with that specific controller. But nowadays, I think it's so much easier. And as we said before, you can buy already a DJI FPV, DJI Avatar, and start getting the shots that you want pretty much the next day that you buy the drone. Of course, you're going to have so many limitations. It's going to be scary at the beginning, but I think it's the best way to see, okay, I like this world. I don't feel sick wearing the goggles. I don't feel like moving around and stuff. I feel comfortable, confident with this. Okay, I feel great. I like what I am doing with the DJI Avatar. Okay, maybe I'm gonna start. I like this world. I can start trying to build my first drone, which it can be a Cineboob or like a 5-inch drone, which is a bigger drones. It's up to you. You have so many tutorial videos in YouTube, but I think it's pretty much two ways: simulator with just a transmitter. You can buy the transmitter, play simulator, or if you have a little bit more money, you can buy straight away the DJI Avatar, for example, which already came with a simulator, and you can pretty much, it's ready to fly kit. You have everything.
Okay, so your tips will be like try
Yes.
simulator first.
Yeah.
If your intention will be to have your own drone,
Yeah.
buy a controller that you can use on the simulator,
Yeah.
train,
Yeah.
train,
Train.
maybe train again,
Train.
and
just
keep training
Yeah.
till you get better.
With it.
Build your drone if that will be the case,
Exactly. Yeah.
or buy a drone
drone.
from DJI. But do
to
you
fly.
still recommend to do the simulator, plane
course.
simulator, everything?
That we didn't mention that before, but we are still flying the simulator nowadays.
Yeah.
So that is a never-ending stuff, because it's technology at the end of the day. They are kind of games, so they improve every time. The scenarios that they offer you is they are improving every time. Now you can chase cars in the simulator. You can dive buildings.
Uh-huh.
Really nice. So never stop using simulator.
Great. For example, as the point will be, I'm starting now, right?
Yeah.
What would be the best, not the best, but the easiest simulator that I can use now?
Okay, again, if you want to,
I'm a newbie, don't forget that.
yeah, but if you like racing, as you saw at the beginning, if you say, okay, I like,
Oh, cool. So you are going in a different place now. So,
yeah,
okay, I'm a newbie,
yeah,
right? So I want to be a freestyle,
freestyle,
I want to be a racer, or I want to do this for cinema.
cinema, exactly.
Okay, so you need to pick.
Yeah, pretty much. You can fly. The FPV is gonna fly pretty similar in both
Right.
of them simulator,
Uh-huh.
but some of them are more interesting or more exciting. It's gonna be more exciting for you if you know specifically what you want to.
Uh-huh.
If you want to race, so the graphic doesn't matter much for you, but the physics matter for you, and all the gates that you can go through, and maybe play with other people around the world so you can compete together. The competition is your main goal. I would recommend a simulator called Velocidrone,
Okay.
or I think it's another one called or Racing Champion League, Drone Racing League.
DIL.
Exactly, which is really nice to try your racing skills.
Uh-huh.
And then you have a few more to train the freestyle and the cinematic shots.
Uh-huh.
It's one simulator which is called Trip FPV.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Remember that
Yep.
I sent you that link as well.
Yep.
That's pretty nice.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
It's really
The
good.
quality. We can put some shots here in the podcast. You have amazing graphics. All the 3-dimensional. They are made with this engine and the software, which is really powerful.
Uh-huh.
And you don't need like a huge video card to do that. But
You know that you can chase like cars, you
Yeah,
can chase like
motocross,
you
yeah.
like balloons.
yeah,
everything.
balloons exactly. Yeah,
Air balloon.
yeah, air balloon. Yeah. You can be in the desert. I don't know. It's amazing. The graphics is really good, and you can feel that cinematic looking that you are looking for. You can enjoy that as well. So and you can practice freestyle.
And if you want one simulator for so freestyle could be anyone.
Yeah, pretty much. I think, to be honest, the racing, the first one that I mentioned before, because the physics and it's gonna be more real life flying. If you want to do freestyle, the Velocidrone is gonna be the way to go.
Right.
If you want to do something more cinematic again, the Trip
will be good.
FPV is gonna be amazing because the graphics and all the scenarios that it has. Yeah.
Fantastic. Franco, do you have any other things that you want to talk with everyone? Or?
Yeah, sorry, we forgot to mention the simulator that comes with the DJI avatar as well, which is really good. It's kind of because DJI knows about marketing and they put all in once. So if you want something to do racing, you have some scenarios to do racing. If you want to do something more cinematic, the simulator has amazing graphics. And
so
you can go
the main reason why you didn't mention the simulator from DJI is just because we are not sponsored by them, right?
Exactly, but if you want to receive something for the next time,
if you want to talk about more about DJI,
yeah, exactly, we can make this happen, guys. We can fly just DJI simulators. Do you used to fly years ago those flight simulators for, I don't know, Phantom or Aspire that used to come before for computers?
No, I never
tried.
No, because
I think
honestly, if you compare like these drones and like a Phantom that I used to fly before, they are really easy to fly, right? And they keep steady. If you, for example, take off your hands from the controller, they can still fly. The only drone that at that time that when I started to fly, it was a little bit scary. Was the Inspire 1.
Which is supposed to be better than the Phantom, right? Or no?
Yes. The problem was every time that you look on news, YouTube, some people that used to have like, they bought like Inspire 1 to have the best quality of when you talk about cinema or the footage. All the time I could see the drone flying or falling from the sky,
hitting the trees,
out of the blue, and the battery all the time having like issues.
Yeah.
So I used to have one. I still have one there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You have three.
Yeah.
But one Inspire 1.
Yeah. So the Inspire 1 is still there. But all the time that I was commissioned to do like a job.
Yeah.
Always carried me to fly that drone, because always came to my mind, that drone's gonna fall, fall. The Inspire 2, they have like 2 batteries. That happens with me before. One battery failed, the other battery is still running, and I could bring the drone back. I never thought that would happen, but that happened with me, and it saved my life and saved like $20,000. So it was good, but that's a different thing. I never have a problem with drones, and I never needed to fly a simulator before. Of course, FPV is different.
Yeah, it's different, and many people is involving now themselves, and many tutorial videos on YouTube how to build your drones. The reviews that we can watch from the Avatar, the DJI original FPV that came 1 year ago as well. So many information out there. It's our experience again. As we said before, you can go into this world in your own way. If you know how to solder, if you know a little bit about the electronics, maybe for you it's better to start building your own stuff.
But I like the way that you're saying, Franco, that there's so many information around, and I think with the experience, potentially, because we built and we were working on this channel pretty much like to entertain people and also to inform people, and how we can give them more information, maybe save them, I don't know, years that we did,
and money as well,
and money as well. Keep tuning. Maybe in the future we can bring something to you, and perhaps you can learn something.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys, to be there one more time. This was Skyper Talk. was pretty interesting today, right? I hope you learned something.
You tell me, man. That's your word.
Yeah, it was amazing for me.
Cool. Thanks, guys. See you next time. And woo!
See ya!
That was good, Frank.
That was really nice.
That was your word.
Yeah, yeah,
And-
I was so excited.
But why you didn't tell me about this Chinese drone that you bought and you thrown the
Because I don't want to people, you know,
there's one story that
racism or something.
there's one story that you didn't tell me.
Which
The one that you lost your drone on the trees there in New Zealand, I think, right?
No, it was in Tasmania. I was still practicing with a tiny whoop. We
Oh,
didn't
really?
mention anything about tiny whoops, so we should.
Wow.
Yeah, I was flying in Tasmania, and the drone pretty much hit a tree and stayed there. And the tree had it's still there. I'm pretty sure the drone is still there, like 30 meters long. You know, Tasmania, no one lives in there, so you don't have like the bombers, you know, the fire. Los bomberos en español. No, you don't have anyone with a big letter, you know, to help you. No.
That was your first deception with the drones, right?
No. What I saw yesterday, I didn't mention anything for you, but I am planning to buy a bazooka to grab the drone from the trees. No. I'm not joking. It's like a guy in USA building those specific bazookas that threw one thing to the air with a cable, you know, so you can shake the tree, and the drone. Pretty much.
You're concerned about the
With
cruise
that-
you have to do now, right?
Yeah, but you can plan like a Tasmanian trip if you want, so you can grab my drone back.
Fantastic. Franco, thank you so much.
Yeah.
See you next time.
See ya, thank you. Bye.
Stopping 1, 2, 3.